चालू।
Can we test the mic? Am I audible? Okay. No clapping for the faculty. You all deserve a clapping for appearing for UPSC. So all the best to you all. Okay. Before I start the session, my name is Gitika and I'm associated with Vision IAS for the last 7 to 8 years. And I'll be taking up your session today on previous year analysis of geography questions. And just let's have a nice introduction. How many of you are appearing for the first time next year in 2024? Oh, good raise of hands. And how many of you have already appeared this year? Okay, very nice. Anyone who's attempting for the second time or third time, third or fourth? Okay, so-called veterans. Okay, I don't like that term, but anyway. So, very nice. Congratulations to all of you who have decided to appear for UPSC. And this is perhaps one of the most important things that you can do to ensure that you clear the examination, which is to analyze the previous year's UPSC papers. Okay. Today we'll be taking up last 5 years papers, that is from 2019 to 2023. Okay, we have the official answer keys till 2022. We obviously don't have the answer keys for this year's paper because we are still in the process of completing the cycle. Okay. So there may be questions which are a little controversial in nature, so to say. We are still contesting answers, but for those questions, I will discuss whatever possible options are. For rest of the questions, we know the answers for sure because we have the official keys. Okay? Fine. Okay, so shall we start? Who is he? Of course, you all read it. No, most of you know him. He's a famous personality. He is who, by the way? Ex-president. Was he the first president of US? Very nice, good. So he was the 16th president of United States. And he said, of course, it's clearly written that if you give me 6 hours to chop a tree, I will take the first 4 to sharpen my axe. So what we are today doing in the class is we are sharpening our axe. And how do we sharpen our axe? The best way and the most important way is by analyzing the previous year's papers. So what are your expectations out of this session? You want to know A, sources, right? You want to know which all books to read, what all material has to be read. B, you want to know what kind of questions UPSC has asked. I'm assuming some of you would have already analyzed some of the questions yourselves. You would have seen the papers. If you have now jumped into the preparation, by now you would already know, that what kind of questions UPSC asks, what is the difficulty level, how easy it is, and all that. Okay. And what else is your expectation from this session? What else do we want to know? The demand of the exam, right? How to score more. See, prelims is a game of margins, very, very small margins, okay? One question here and there, your entire year can go in this direction or that direction, okay? I personally know of toppers who managed to get a high rank, like a rank 20 or 30, the year they managed to clear prelims. 3 attempts, they could not even manage to clear prelims, and in the 4th attempt, prelims, mains, interview altogether. Rank 20, 28, like that, okay? So that is why prelims is a stage which, tends to become the most difficult stage of the exam because every mark counts, okay? And for such a stage where your answer is either right or wrong, unlike mains, because you always have an option of writing something in mains. Even if you don't know anything, at least you can draw one diagram, write 4 or 5 points, even if they are generic in nature. But in prelims, you are either right or wrong, which makes it all the more tricky, okay? So we are going to analyze, one, what are the patterns of UPSC? Let's see. What is the examination pattern, okay? What are the often repeated themes? People have this notion in mind that UPSC does not repeat its questions. Rarely, 1 or 2 questions get repeated. But I will show it to you today how questions so similar in nature, in fact almost exactly same, from similar topics, similar themes are repeated by UPSC time and again. And mind you, I am only talking about the last 5 years. I am not even going back, okay? Second thing, we are going to gauge the difficulty level. How difficult or easy was the question? Whether it was possible for students with normal preparation, with reading standard textbooks like NCERT and let's say GC Leong, was it possible for you to crack that question? We will address those answers, okay? Then what is the changing nature of the question? Of course, you all know by now it has become a big statement in the market that UPSC has eliminated elimination technique. Everybody knows that, okay? There is no more answering, okay, if a second is gone, so 3 options are gone. Yes, that is true. But other than that, there are patterns in this examination which are coming forth, which we need to identify, looking at what we have seen on the basis of previous year trends. For example, economic geography has become extremely important, okay? Till this year, till now, there was more or less, within geography, there was more or less more emphasis on physical geography, like climate, vegetation, biomes, and that is what we all concentrate on, right, when we are studying. But economic geography is gaining prominence. Now the challenge with economic geography is that your NCERTs are not up to date. They are, but only to a certain extent. All the new projects that are coming up, all the infrastructure developments that are taking place in India or worldwide is something that your NCERTs will not be sufficient for. Okay? That means A, newspapers, B, economics and geography go hand in hand. All right? Next, static and current affairs, just as I highlighted, we will be talking about that also. And new topics. What are some of the new emerging themes? We have a lot of, 2023 was a paper which was entirely based on new and emerging technologies. Green hydrogen, fuel cells, right? And electric vehicles. Even the questions in geography were related to that. Rare earth elements. So everything is moving in that direction. See, it's simple. UPSC expects you as future IAS officers to know about the direction in which you want to take your country forward, right? You cannot become an IAS officer by just rote learning the rivers and mountains of India. What is the difference between you and a 10th standard student? The difference will come when you are up to date with whatever is happening in the news, current affairs, and you are linking it with your preparation, especially in geography. Geography as such is a subject which overlaps with other subjects on a very big scale. You cannot, I will show you a question, you cannot tell me whether it is environment or geography or economics. You will always feel confused. But that is your dilemma. That is not UPSC's dilemma. UPSC does not give you sections. These are our creations. This is all artificial. That geography hai, environment hai. This is all our interpretation. UPSC simply talks about topics and themes. And that is how we have to prepare. How we have to prepare if there is an upcoming technology, let's say for example green hydrogen, or let's say any upcoming technology, you should be able to address all its aspects, right from sources to its applications. Okay, is that clear? Chalo, let's start the session. We'll start with agriculture. Okay, I have divided all the previous year questions in themes, so that हमें एग्रीकल्चर से कैसे क्वेश्चंस आते हैं उसका आइडिया लगे, क्लाइमेट से कैसे क्वेश्चंस आते हैं उसका पता लगे, like that. Okay, I hope it's all right if I'm a little bilingual in the session. Thank you. But I'll try and keep it as formal as possible so that our online students are also able to understand. Okay, 2019 question with reference to cultivation of kharif crops in India in the last 5 years. Okay, in the last 5 years, area under rice cultivation is the highest. Is this correct? First of all, what is kharif? Sorry? What is kharif? Sowing between? Right, that is right. So you should be knowing the correct definition, okay? अगर आपको एक question पूछा जा रहा है, you probably understand, but you should be able to define it, that when is the sowing period and when is the harvesting period, okay? So, area under rice cultivation. So, the easy way to remember, you know rice is a kharif crop, right? So, easy way to remember is, Rabi is not equal to rice. R is not equal to R, okay? Just in case you forget. So, area under rice cultivation is the highest. Is it true? Yeah, obviously, right? Kharif crop सबसे बड़ा crop India में, it is rice, okay? Then, area under the cultivation of jowar is more than oilseeds. Now, to answer these kind of questions, is this data available in your NCERT? Latest, that to 5 years. No. So, where do we go? We see, in this session, we are not only trying to answer questions, we are trying to identify the sources from where you have to prepare. Additional sources, you should be having a list of additional sources ready by the end of this session, so that you can keep that in mind while you're preparing for this exam. Okay? So, where do you think we can get data related to this? India yearbook, okay. Anybody else? Economic survey is also a good option. Yes, very nice. See, I'll tell you one short place to get data related to this is the Ministry of Agriculture's website. Okay, the ministry's the website's name is AgriCoop. AgriCoop, AgriCoop.nic.in, agricoop.nic.in, in which you will find this tab called Statistics, Agriculture and Horticulture separate, and within agriculture you will get agricultural statistics at a glance. Every year the ministry releases these statistics, 18, 19, 20, 21 and 22. This is the short official estimates of the data. Okay, so if you see, to answer our question, this is the data picked up from the latest AgriCoop statistics. Okay, now if you see, we were asked the jowar and was compared with oil seeds. So this is jowar, okay, and these are oil seeds, total oil seeds. You can compare, right? And what about others? What were the other things that were asked? Sugarcane and cotton. Sugarcane and cotton. So the areas were compared. Okay. So if you go to that website, you will see there is data regarding area, there is data regarding production and the yield also. Okay. एक simple table है. You just have to compare. That's all. Okay. Clear? Now let's see. This was in 2019. What happened this year? 2023, 4 years later. UPSC till now was asking a lot of questions on arable area within India, irrigated area within India. But now it has given a question on comparison of data between India and China. This is something that has never happened before. We were not studying India का comparison international की China में कितना है और नहीं है. Why this data has emerged? See, there is an article which says India can learn agri policy lessons from China. Fine. And the article itself mentions everything, that China's irrigation cover is 41% of cultivated area and India's is 48%. Population size itna hai, yet the total जो yield है, China's yield is so many times more than India in spite of having the same arable land, almost same, थोड़ा सा marginally बड़ा है China का, in spite of having that, and irrigation also, China's 41% and India is 48%, yet China's yield is so much high. Why? This was the article which was in news. Okay, so what does it tell us regarding preparation? That such articles which are about cross-country comparison, especially of India with like countries. So China is also a country which is similar to us, we call it developing nation. Give me some examples of other countries which are similar in nature. Very nice. Turkey and Brazil, very good. Very good, very good. So all these in countries का एक cross country comparison हमारे पास थोड़ा सा ready होना चाहिए in terms of data. Okay, in terms of data, that how much arable land do these countries have, how much of it is irrigated, and compare that with India. See, going forward, we have to take cues from what UPSC ने how many of the statements given above wala statement का pattern was introduced last year. Okay, but only a few questions were that. But this year, all the questions were from that pattern. So mind you, UPSC does not bombard you with anything. They always give you a precursor to something which is about to, you know, they are going to change the pattern. So in a globalized world where there is so much competition between countries for exports, how can you not have cross-country comparison? And there are only 4 to 5 like countries, right, which are competing with India in certain crops. We ought to know that, all right? So change of strategy. Not only you need to know about Indian agriculture, data which you study from economic survey or let's say any other source, India yearbook, but you need to have a cross-country notes also ready. All right? Fine. Next question. 2020. Black gram can be cultivated both as a, see, for answers, the answers are already marked on the slides. Okay, you can see that, you can go and home and refer to that also. But the point of this session is not to give you answers. You will anyway read about it. The point of the session is to take out patterns, right? We are in a session of analyzing previous year's questions. Clear? Okay, so black gram can be cultivated as both Rabi and Kharif. How would you know? Where will you get this information? Is that okay? Is that okay? It has increased? Further? Oh. Okay? All right. Okay, I'll read it out for you. All right. So, how do you know that whether any crop is both Rabi or Kharif? How would you know? कहाँ मिलेगा ये information? हमें तो पढ़ना है यार. We have to think like a student. I need this information at one place. I don't want to keep looking for everything all the time, right? Again, going back to that same source. Going back to that same source. Where were we? Here. See, maize is both Kharif and Rabi. Bajra, only Kharif. Okay? Even because, reason being, see, the ministry will take out data for anything which is substantial. And agar us season mein ho hi nahi raha hai, they will definitely not take out the data. Okay? So it is important to know. Okay? Then, gram, tur gram, both Rabi and Kharif. Okay? So that is how you need to identify. Plus, you can also apply your mind that Rabi season kya hai? Winters. Okay, winters of southern states is also warm, right? So anything which is grown in the warmer conditions of northern India can be most likely grown in the winters of southern India. That logic can also be applied. Okay. So, yeah. Now, the question says, green gram alone accounts for nearly half of pulse production. जो सबसे ज़्यादा दाल इंडिया में खाई जाती है, which one is it? Lot of people from central India. It's not arhar. It's chana dal, chickpeas. Okay, that is accounts for 40% of the pulse production in India. Okay, and India is the largest pulse producing country in the world. Too much confusion regarding data. And are we an importer of pulses or are we an exporter, like net? So if we produce so many pulses, why do we import so much? Consumption is high, right? Because we are primarily a vegetarian society and pulses is a key source of proteins for us. All right? So, in the last 3 decades, while the production of Kharif pulses has increased, the production of Rabi pulses has decreased. See the data here. Blue is Kharif, orange is Rabi. Both has increased. ऐसा नहीं है कि एक का बढ़ा है और एक का कम हुआ है. Okay? Of course, it talks about the last 3 decades. See, it talks about the last 3 decades. Last 3 decades is a long time. In a long time, it is highly unlikely कि एक season का बिल्कुल कम हुआ होगा और एक का बहुत ज़्यादा बढ़ा होगा. So you can apply your common sense also to this. Okay? That is why this statement will be incorrect. So the answer will be A. Is that clear? Okay. Next question. We are still in agriculture, and then we will also see what are the key takeaways from this. Question. In 2020, we had this question. The crop is a subtropical in nature. A hard frost is injurious to it. It requires at least 210 frost-free days and 50 to 100 centimeters of rainfall. What is the crop? Cotton. You all know, but how do you know this answer? 210 frost-free days, exact line is written in NCERT. Okay, so NCERT continues to remain a primary source for us. All right. Now, next question. Among the following, which one is the least water efficient crop? Sugarcane, sunflower, pearl millet, red gram. Why? See, sugarcane is a water guzzler, right? It takes up lot of water. Millets are coarse cereals. They will take less water, okay, to grow. They can grow in harsher conditions, but not sugarcane. So sugarcane is a water guzzler. And this question came in 2021. Okay, this happened around after there was a lot of controversy related to Maharashtra's water crisis, especially in the Marathwada region. Okay. Okay, now I have a better way to remind you about that. You remember IPL? It was decided to relocate IPL from Maharashtra. Why? Because of water scarcity. You know, there was a huge hue and cry that already the state is reeling under water stress, and you expect huge cannons of water to be transported for, of course, all the infrastructural support that IPL requires. So around that time, that is this question. Sugarcane also is always in news because Maharashtra farmers tend to grow a lot of sugarcane even despite having a water crisis. Okay, so let's see the source. See, newspapers. Droughts, water shortage. Here's why Marathwada isn't giving up sugarcane. And where is Marathwada? This region. Now what happens? See, एक article आया, you cannot restrict yourself to the issue at hand. You have to also go into the specifics. So if you are reading about Marathwada, okay, geography point of view, say you need to know what is Marathwada. UPSC can any day ask you that Marathwada borders which all states? Yeah, where is it? Of course it is in Maharashtra, but please mind you, it also borders Karnataka and Telangana, right? And within Maharashtra. All right, clear? So whenever you're reading a newspaper article, if a region is mentioned, please star mark this information that you have to find out the location of that region. You need to know it, whether it is Indian, domestic or international. All right, clear? I will show you examples of international regions which UPSC has asked time and again. Okay, we are only discussing 5 years papers. Fine. Next question, 2022. Consider the following states. How many of the above are generally known as tea producing states? Now this question is a very, very tough question. Okay. Generally when you think of tea, what are the states you think of? You think of Assam, Kerala, okay. Okay. Do you think of Himachal also? You can think there are places in Mandi where tea is grown, okay. Do you think of Tripura? Little less, but you can still give it the benefit of doubt. It is in northeast, then probably yes, it could be one of the tea growing places, okay. But Andhra Pradesh is something which is a big trap, okay. You will struggle to find information related to tree cropping in Andhra Pradesh, but the official answer key of UPSC has marked it correct, okay. In fact, Vision probably did not. We had given the answer as only 3 states. The official answer key is all 4 states. Okay. Now let's justify, because we have to. So let's justify what UPSC said. Basically, in the Araku Valley of Visakhapatnam, okay, this is a coffee growing, this is primarily known for coffee, but there are also tea estates. Okay, this is also one of the tea producing states of India. All right, and what you see here, this snippet is from the Tripura government official website, where it is clearly written, in fact, Tripura is categorized as a traditional tea growing state with about 54 tea estates. ऐसा नहीं है बहुत ज़्यादा है, but it is still considered a tea growing state. All right. So what is the lesson? Number one, anything which is in news related to even a small place जहाँ पे some crop is grown which you may not associate with that state or region, you will note it down. See, in the growing conditions of tea and coffee are very similar. You know that, right? Coffee, tea, rubber, all these pepper, elaichi, ये सब बहुत similar growing conditions हैं इन सब के. So where you will find tea, you will likely find coffee also. Okay? These are tea plantations. How does coffee grow? Is it a what? Bush or what? Oh, beans to seed ho gaya na. What is the plant? What is it? It's a big tree. What is it? It is a plant, but it is more woody. जैसे ये tea में you will find a hedge, right? Hedge of leaves. Plants, coffee में it is more like a independent trees with leaves, small in height, but they have beans. Okay, so sorry, the regions, the growing conditions of tea and as well as coffee are similar in nature. So wherever you read about coffee, find out whether वहाँ पे tea, rubber ये सब भी होता है कि नहीं. In all likelihood होगा. Okay, because those are the conditions where they all kind of grow together. Okay, and of course for commercial reasons, farmers take advantage of that. All right. Clear? So the answer to this question is all 4 states. Of course, this is a tough question. Now for a question like that in examination, if you are not sure, you can leave it, because again, how many will make things more difficult. Had this been an elimination question, aap fir bhi you could have made a guess. With how many, it kind of makes it difficult. All right? Clear? Yeah. Crops for all this, you don't prepare states, you prepare crops. Okay, so when you prepare, you don't prepare Maharashtra itna hai, Karnataka itna hai, no. You prepare the crop. Okay, of course, how many crops are there? Gin ke there are 10, 15. Okay, have a list of them. In front of every crop, you should have one top producing state, extremely important. Okay, top producing state, and what is the not least. Least is not required. UPSC is not going to ask you कि least producing state कौन सा है. And the growing conditions. What is the kind of growing conditions that that particular crop requires? Yeah, see again, you need to know at least top 4-5 states. Okay, ताकि बिल्कुल आपको एकदम सिर्फ फर्स्ट जानने से तो you will not be able to solve questions. You should now, why again I'll tell you. Tomato prices are skyrocketing. Do you know which is the largest tomato producing state in India? No. No, all are wrong. No. Now you go home and find out the data. ये सबको पता है कि prices बढ़ गए हैं, सरकार की सबको, you all have to criticize and you all have to discuss things, but you don't know which is the top producing state of tomatoes in India. This is what has to change when you are reading newspapers. You cannot just read newspapers, you have to analyze them, you have to tackle the issue at hand. Please start visualizing yourselves as future administrators of this country. If you are an IAS officer in your district, if the tomato prices are skyrocketing, would you not want to know कि यार और मैं कहाँ से मंगवा सकता हूँ? And what will be your second line of thought? From which state can I import? And naturally then, which is the state which has the most production? This is the most logical question that one can deduct from reading these articles. Clear? So the preparation strategy has to align that way. Okay. Now let's see. Yeah. See, scientific aspects related to agriculture is something, it's twofold. If it is related to the environment, like you mentioned, rice cultivation releases methane because there is a lot of water clogging associated. That will fall in the purview of environment, okay? If it is more technical, okay, let's say you're talking about aquaponics, okay, or you're talking about some other method of growing crops, then that will fall in the category of science and tech, okay? I can understand these are logical questions because when we make that distinction, your mind should not, okay? But at the same time, for the sake of keeping things more structured, we have to divide it like that. Okay, so all the questions in geography related to crops and agriculture will be mostly climate based, you know, or state area based, geographic based, where they are located and what they are. All the questions related to agriculture, production किसका कितना ज़्यादा है, किसका export ज़्यादा है, India is the largest exporter of rice, all these trade related questions will be dealt in the economic section. But again, like I said initially, you do not have to make that distinction in your notebooks. You should have one notebook for agriculture. There is no need to make science, economics ka alag and geography ka alag. Have one. Agriculture is so important for prelims and equally important for mains. So you should probably have one separate notebook for agriculture where you can jot down all the data, national and international. All right. UPSC is an exam of management. It is not an exam of knowledge. Knowledge everybody has. The difference between someone who has cleared and who has not cleared is only in the fact that someone who has cleared has been able to take some information, structure it and learn it. Manage the syllabus. This is what you have to do. Okay? If you have that kind of mindset, you will start seeing the exam a little more differently. कि अच्छा agriculture का एक topic है. I should know which are the leading producing states of this crop and what is the status of India with respect to that crop. For example, if we're talking about oil seeds, we import a lot of palm oil. We have so many questions in the last 5 years on palm oil. Okay, both in prelims and mains. So how do you address that? You address the data. You should know the issue at hand, why we are not able to generate that kind of, let's say, oil seeds, and what are the solutions for it. That is one topic, finish. Now, whether that topic is addressed in prelims or mains or interview, you should be able to answer. Your preparation has to be theme-based, topic-based, not subject-based. What we are doing here is only for the sake of simplification. All right? Is that clear? Good. So, what are the changing trends in agriculture in UPSC examination? So first, like I mentioned, we used to earlier have topics related to land use pattern in India. Okay, which crop mein kitna area hai, how much is irrigated and all that. Now we have to compare it with countries. Pulses, oil seeds. Millets becomes a very, very important topic. Why? This is the International Year of Millets. So, pulses, oil seeds repeatedly have been covered by UPSC. Millets abhi bhi aana hai. So, please get down to, in fact, UPSC has covered, okay, finger millet, ragi pe question tha, that will be covered in economics. Again, because that was a production based question. But millets becomes the important topic for future. Use the internet extensively. Please don't rely on NCERT. Please don't think you have read NCERT and you are done with agriculture. Sorry. You have to have an updated list of data and stay abreast with the news. Like I mentioned, tomato topic has to be studied in this manner. All right? And then, of course, there are overlaps with other subjects like environment and economics. Okay, so agriculture, my honest suggestion, and you will all thank me later for this, have one notebook for agriculture. Chahe wo economics ki ho, geography ki ho, ya anything. But have one separate notebook for agriculture. This will also help you in your mains general studies paper 3. All right? Fine. Let's talk about some simpler geography topics. Earth and the solar system. Okay? Now, you all read about it. NCERT hai, GC Leong. All the information is given in these books. Simple, conceptual. Okay? Now, how many questions do you think UPSC has asked in the last 5 years on this topic? 5, 6, 1, 2. Okay. Now I'll tell you, there's been only one question. How? There have actually been 2 questions, but both were ditto. Back-to-back consecutive years. See this. 2019, there was a question on 21st June. The sun is, okay, what is 21st June is? Summer solstice. Good. And 2022, there is a question. In the northern hemisphere, the longest day of the year normally occurs in the simple sitter, easy. सेम ही है ना दोनों. और कितना गैप है साल में? 3 साल का गैप, right? Isn't it a repetition of the question? Almost ditto. And just for the sake of clarity, the answer is this, because in the northern hemisphere, the earth is tilted towards the sun. The northern hemisphere is tilted, and there will always be light in the Arctic Circle. The sun will never set. And this is 21st June. So, simple. Again, now what do we understand from this? Topics get repeated. Nature of question might change, but topics get repeated. Okay, next. Climate and vegetation. No, please do not conclude कि solar system से ज़्यादा question नहीं आएंगे. A, because एक तो solar system, the topic itself is very easy, right? It will not take too much of your time to really go through it. Maybe let's say maximum 2 hours. So once you are done with it, you do it thoroughly. That should not be in your mind while studying. यार ये तो this topic is not important enough, so let me just skip it. That should not be the strategy. Okay, these are low hanging fruits in the exam, and if you do not get low hanging fruits, it's not worth the return on investment is very low on this, very high on this rather. Okay, by studying 2 hours, if you are able to get answers correct, this is very easy. Don't skip this. Don't make this mistake in UPSC. People generally try to make an extra effort to read so many extra things just for that one question or half a mark. But these things just, fall in your lap. So grab them, okay? Fine. Moving on, climate and vegetation. Let's see some of the questions. Again, I am reiterating, there will be a lot of questions with this topic which you might feel should be in geography, but they will be covered under environment. There is no proper distinction, there is no proper way to distinguish. It is up to you how you want to see it, okay? So we will be covering those questions in the environment analysis as well. As of now, let's just see core geography questions, okay? Now, again, I will show you a repetition, okay? Leaf litter decomposes faster than any other biome, and as a result, the soil surface is often almost bare, which means leaf litter jo hai, what is leaf litter? I hope you know. The leaves that fall, okay, that decomposes very fast. This is a characteristic. Then, apart from trees, that means trees hai wahan pe, okay, so grasslands is out. The vegetation is largely composed of plant forms that reach up into the canopy vicariously by climbing trees or growing as epiphytes. We all read epiphytes. What are epiphytes? Hindi mein batao. So, what? Banyan tree? No. Who said banyan tree? Re-revise. Epiphyte is bale. Banyan tree, lamba chauda tree, no? Epiphytes is bales. जो bale जाती है ना, creepers and all, okay? So that trees growing as epiphytes rooted on the upper branches of trees, okay? तो ऊपर जाती है bale, right? So there are 2 things which this passage tells you. One is leaf litter decomposes at a fast rate. For any decomposition to take at a faster rate, what are the 2 conditions you need? Temperature and moisture, which is most likely to happen in a tropical rainforest. And epiphytes jahan pe aa gaya, clearly it is a tropical rainforest and not a mangrove. Mangrove also has high temperature and moisture, but we are talking about epiphytes also here. Alright, clear? So the answer is this. Mind, ये वाला याद रखना. I will come to this again in the future, again showing you a question which is asking exact same thing. Faster decomposition. Okay? Now, let's see. Question number, this 2023, this year's paper. These are the trees. Jackfruit, mahua, teak. How many of the above are deciduous trees? So what is the answer? Acha, what is teak? Teak is deciduous? Nahi pata. Now listen to me. If you come across the name of any tree, ठीक है, न्यूज़पेपर में आता है, रेड सैंडर्स आता है, माहुआ आता है, बहुत सारे नाम आते हैं. प्लीज फॉर गॉड सेक 1 मिनट में उसका गूगल जस्ट ओपन द इमेजेस एंड सी इट्स फोटोग्राफ. यू विल नेवर फॉरगेट इट. यू कैन नॉट इमेजिन टीक, राइट? फॉर यू टू रिमेंबर एनी राइट, for you to remember any cartoon character or any movie character, you have to have a visual. You can't just have a, you know, imaginary thing. So the best way to do is, please see pics. How difficult is it? It will take 2 minutes, but it will serve you so much. 1 साल तक याद रहेगा. Otherwise, you will forget it in Monday. Okay, NCERT has given the answer to this question. Teak, mahua, all these things are mentioned in your NCERT. That question could have been solved with NCERT. Yet people were confused. And why were they confused in the exam? Because you are under stress. There is, you know, too much pressure to solve questions. You are trying to recollect a book which you read 1 year ago. It is hardly possible for you to do that, right? The best way is, if you see the images, you will never forget. It's as simple as that. We all humans live by pictographic memory. We all have a pictographic memory. We see pictures and we imagine visuals. So help your brain to remember things by seeing visuals. Okay, now this is, everybody knows this is jackfruit. Good. So dekhna hi tha na bas ek photograph. All right. So jackfruit is always green. Okay. Those who, you know, come from northeast or those areas, they would know very well what is jackfruit, right? Okay, now this is your mahua. Very nice. This is mahua, and this is a mahua tree when the leaves shed. This is your teak, and this is the teak when it sheds its leaves. Okay, so any species that you come across, quickly find out whether it is deciduous or evergreen. Then find out whether it has any commercial importance. So mahua has any commercial importance? Yes. Right? Then what are the leading states or the climatic regions where I can find that? So make your preparation holistic. Okay? And just jot down. These are points which will require 5 minutes of Googling, 1 minute of noting down and remembering forever. As opposed to reading an NCERT, underlining it, then just dozing over it and then reading it the next time and still forgetting it. Please make your preparation interesting. You have all the resources at your disposal. Yes. Sorry? But what is the definition? These are pneumatophores. Their roots are pneumatophores. Right? Okay, you check. Okay, good. All right. Epiphytes are trees with creepers. Key word is creeper. They're all bales. Okay, that is the key thing. All right. Clear? Okay, so water resources. Then let's move on to the next topic. We've covered 3 topics. We've covered solar system, agriculture and climate and vegetation. Okay. Now again, how important is water in general today for our world as such? It is extremely important. Okay. It is already stated that by 2050 the world will, almost all the countries in world will face a water shortage. Okay. So what we have to do, this topic becomes extremely important. Now, this is a question from 2021. Okay, the amount of water in the rivers and lakes is more than the amount of groundwater. On the face of it, this statement seems to be true. That okay, river and lake में बहुत ज़्यादा पानी होगा, ground water कितना ही होता है, वैसे ही जल्दी खत्म हो जाता है, right? You tend to think like that. Okay, so if you see, this question has been framed directly from NCERT. This table is given in NCERT. That is water on Earth's surface. Now if you see lakes, streams and rivers, this is 0.0017. Okay, the unit is million cubic kilometers. And then when you see groundwaters, so you see the difference is so stark, correct? Now table is given in NCERT. It's just that you have to have an eye of seeing that what you could think might be true, but what is actually correct. Okay, so any table or data given in NCERT, not just physical, but also economic geography. आपकी economic geography की NCERT में there is a good table given regarding rural and urban migration, both interstate and intrastate. From that table you can frame 10 questions. Okay, seeing what are the patterns. Male migration is more from rural to urban. Is it interstate or intrastate? Okay, all those analysis has to be done by you. Of course, you will be taught in the class, but the point is that you should be remembering this. All right? The amount of water in polar ice caps and glaciers is more than the amount. We just saw that table. Again, the answer is 2 only. All right? Clear? Point being, NCERT tables and data become very important. Also in NCERT, आपकी back पे appendices are given. Those become very important. You have to find out, there is data related to river basins. That what is the area of each river basin. Okay? What is the catchment area? What is the river basin area? So if you are asked that what is the longest river, okay, what is the river with the maximum volume, you should also be able to answer the river with the largest basin. Okay, all these data become important. Now see the question in 2023. According to the UN World Water Development Report 2022, India extracts more than a quarter of the world's groundwater withdrawal each year. That means India is extracting more than 25% of the world's groundwater every year. Okay, so you may or may not know, but one thing for sure you know is that our agriculture, we are a rain-fed country, we are a monsoon-dependent country, our agriculture is mostly dependent on groundwater, right? Now read the second statement. India needs to extract more than a quarter of the world's groundwater to satisfy the drinking and sanitation needs of almost 18% of the world's population living in its territory. So are we using that water for drinking and sanitation purposes? No. A majority of our water needs are, used water resources are utilized to meet underground water resources to meet the irrigation needs. Okay, so the statement 1 is correct, but statement 2 is not correct. Now this question is, if you think of it, it is easy, at least you know the second statement, but you will not know the first statement. See, but the question has been asked in 2023 and it states the report of 2022. Okay, so any report with respect to, especially from United Nations, which is making a stark remark, this is a stark remark, that दुनिया का 25% पानी, underground पानी इंडिया ले रहा है. This is a very big remark to make about a country, right? That has to be noted. And then that becomes an issue. Okay, 25% we are utilizing, but why? Number 1, we are a monsoon dependent country. Number 2, we have, what are the other reasons? Agriculture is based, but also because we are giving a lot of subsidy to farmers. We are giving them free electricity, right? A huge amount of free subsidy for electricity. So a lot of pumps, electric pumps are put in use because electricity is free. Farmer ko kuch pay nahi karna hai. Water is anyway free. Nobody is paying for water, right? Farmers are not, anything under your land which you can extract is yours. Correct? So that is also one of the reasons why there is a lot of groundwater extraction in India. Okay, then issue based, usko issue banaya, you have to understand it from mains perspective, prelims perspective, and then you will be able to, and wahi, if you understood this thing, if you understood this point, you would automatically know that statement 2 is wrong, right? So the key takeaway from this particular analysis is that if a report highlights or makes a stark comment about India, you have to understand and go deeper into the issue. Just for an example, case in point, recently there was a report on global slavery, and India was stated to be the country with the largest number of slaves. Can you believe it? We consider ourselves a democratic country, you know, which gives rights to its people, and yet we have the largest number of slaves. So what does this do? You go deeper into the issue. Clear? That is how you have to read newspapers. Newspaper reading is not merely reading, it is just identifying a topic and searching it on the internet, make notes, crisp notes, 4-5 points, reasons, solutions, and data related to it. You're good to go in your preparation. That is what toppers have done, all through and throughout. Okay? I'll give you an example. You know about Gaurav Agarwal? Rank 1, right? So he ran, I don't know if he's still working on it, but he runs a blog like Superman Returns or something like that. That's his name. Okay? And there he has given all his notes, okay, for all the aspirants to see that how he made his notes. If you go and see that particular, you know, file of his, you will realize that he has simply written in topic 4-5 points related to what is the issue, 2-3 statistics, what is the solution, and way forward, okay? Or 1-2 data usse related, and that is how he has made very short, crisp notes covering all the topics in mains also. So the syllabus has been covered in that fashion. So come what may, what question UPSC asks, whether in prelims or mains, you will be able to answer if you have such crisp notes. And why crisp is important? Kahani nahi likhni hai, because you cannot revise a story. You can just remember it. But if you have to revise something, you have to, it has to be short enough so that you can just quickly go through it. You will forget this data the next day. Very naturally, the human brain retains only 18% of what it reads the previous day. कल जो आपने पढ़ाई की उसका already 80%, 82% has gone. So the only way to do it is have short notes and just revisit them. Smart study, okay? Not hard study. It has to be smart also. All right? Okay. Now, the motivation behind this question related to, we just read about it. Of course, the report was also in news, but also level of groundwater extraction lowest in 18 years. Okay? Clear? Okay. Now coming to a typical geography topic, which is rivers, reservoirs, and glaciers. Okay? Of course, lakes, reservoirs, same thing. Okay? Now, see, rivers, mountains become obviously important in geography. पढ़ना तो है ही, learn तो करना ही है. So what is the way to do it? To finish any mammoth task, what is the way to do it? You break it down, right? You break it down into simpler tasks. So you have an atlas, all of you have an atlas, you have 1 year's time. The best way to do it, I will not say that paste the atlas and put a picture in your room and all that, nobody sees that. Okay? Just make sure that on your phone you have a good map available, physical or political both, okay? And you are just seeing that for 10 minutes a day. That's it. 10 minutes a day. And every day you decide to jot down information with respect to one geographical feature. One. So let's say today I say I want to only for the top 4 northern states of India, okay, that is Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal, Punjab, Haryana, I want to jot down just the, let's say, reservoirs, okay. So what will I do? You will open the map, just jot them down, try to see their positions and note it down somewhere. At best, draw a rough map and pinpoint it. That's it. Have this notebook only for practice. Next day, go to Gujarat, Rajasthan, okay? Then again do the same exercise. If you are not breaking your map into parts, you will struggle to revise the map at the end of the, your preparation period. You have to prepare maps parallelly. And you have to make it easy for yourselves, okay? Also, whenever something comes in news, you immediately open the map, like I showed you Marathwada. If you are reading about a region जिसका नाम सुना है, हाँ पता है महाराष्ट्र है, सुनने में लग रहा है, but you don't know the exact location, you ought to check it. Clear? We are going to simplify our preparation. Now, topics like these can only be covered in this manner. Also, let me tell you, famous places and rivers are a favorite topic with UPSC. Alright? So let's say Pandharpur. Where is Pandharpur? Maharashtra. What is it famous for? Very good. That's right. And Tiruchirappalli? What is south? It is a very bad answer. Whoever said south, very bad answer. Okay, and Hampi? Very nice. Okay, let's see. Okay, this is Pandharpur. Okay, this is in Maharashtra. देखो कहाँ है location? Where is Mumbai and where is Pandharpur? Correct? And this is Tiruchirappalli. This is again famous for a temple. Where is Chennai and where is Tiruchirappalli? Clear? Right? And this is Hampi. Hampi is located on the banks of Tungabhadra river. Very nice. Now if you want to remember Tungabhadra rivers, have you seen these kind of boats? Somewhere in movies or your friends might have visited. So remember this. Okay? Always associate a key symbol with something in order to remember it. Alright? Clear? So the question is asking, Pandharpur, the river is Chandrabhaga. This is right. Tiruchirappalli is Kaveri. Okay? And Hampi is Tungabhadra. Okay? So the answer will be A, 1 and 2 only. There is no way of, there is no trick to learn all this. It's memorization and practice. Alright? Yes, yes. Yes, yes, you have to. Yes. You want to become an IAS or not? See, that is why. See, Pandharpur is famous. Tiruchirappalli, Trichy is very famous. Come on, everybody knows Trichy. These are not small villages. We are talking about big cities here, right? And Hampi is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. What more do you want? This, and there is, like I mentioned, there is no other way to do it than break it down. If you are not breaking it down, can you eat ek saal ka khana ek saath? Right? You can't have 1 year's food in one go. You have to break things down. That is how your body digests, that is how your mind will digest. So break it down. Your atlas is the best friend that you can have. उसको लेके घुमा करो साथ में चलते चलते एक पेज खोल के देख लिया. Your atlas also shows these important cultural places, tourist places, world heritage sites. These are all given in the atlases, right? Oxford Atlas देखी है ना? Why is everyone giving me these blank looks? You're right, you know, right? The atlas gives you all this information. It's not just physical and political, okay? So, utilize that. And these are big centers. You can't complain that how can I learn all the places and all the... That effort has to be done, and that has to be done on a steady basis. Alright? Okay, can't complain, no right. Okay, the rewards of this examination are huge. Huge. So, in order to be there, there has to be some struggle also. If it were so easy, at the end of the day, it's a competitive exam. If you do a little extra, you will gain. Suppose ये आपने एक map कर लिया, सारी sites कर लिए and rivers कर लिए, you gain an edge over at least 30,000 students. Look at it like that. All right? Fine. What is common to places known as Aliyapur, Isapur and Kangsabati? Tough question. I will not deny this is a tough question. The answer is water reservoirs, but you may or may not know. Okay? The only way you can say that you should have known is here. Tamil Nadu agrees to release water from Shoilar and Aliar. So, जो कावेरी का issue चल रहा था, उससे related, this news was there. But again, it's very difficult to remember all the reservoirs. Yet, if you are making that additional effort, you can always gain advantage. Okay? So, the answer is water reservoirs. Okay? Okay. Fine? Clear? Okay, now let's see. Again, wetland location, reservoir states. Same, state में कहाँ पर है, and again same reservoir state में कहाँ है. So wetlands भी cover करने हैं, reservoirs भी cover करने हैं. There is no other way of dealing with this. Okay. Now, if you see, first says Hokera wetland Punjab. Where is Hokera? Where is, I'm glad the option says only 2 pairs, so you all don't know which 2 pairs. Otherwise, you would have given me a very smart answer. Now, Hokera is where? And where is Harike? Harike is Punjab, Hokera is Jammu and Kashmir. See the play, interplay, right? On similar lines, UPSC had asked Pakke Tiger Reserve, right? Arunachal. Okay, the answer was, but they had named it Pakhui. So, again, play of words, right? So, जो उसका नाम है, उसके other names भी थोड़े से देख लेने हैं, all right? This is where the preparation actually lies, okay? All right. So, Hokera wetland is in Jammu and Kashmir. Where is Renuka wetland? Correct. Rudrasagar lake? Tripura. It is in Tripura. If at all you don't remember, you should go and Google it. You will see the name of the place is Udaipur. So you will realize there is one Udaipur in Rajasthan and one Udaipur in Tripura as well. All right, and that this lake mein there is a mahal called Neer Mahal. All right, clear? So you have to read more about it. That is the only way to remember. Again, I am emphasizing, Google the images and see. Okay, then Kerala. Okay, clear? There is no better way to do it. Break down your atlas. Please revise. And news में जो भी आता है, just see the map and kind of note it down somewhere in your notebook that okay, this could very well be asked. अगर कोई भी topic newspaper में दिखता है ना, just try and imagine what if this comes in the examination. Yes, if this is coming in the examination, then I need to prepare it in a certain manner. Have that seriousness associated with it. Okay? Yes. Yeah. We'll come to it. Okay. Yeah. I totally understand your query. There is no one source for all this other than your atlas and newspapers. Yes, of course. See, these are your wetlands. See, these are the wetlands. This is as good as atlas, right? Of course, there is one source. I can say this is one source. You revise from here. But the point being, how much can you learn like that? You have to learn in a slow and steady manner, divided into states. जैसे आज सिर्फ first 3 or 4 states का देखो. Okay? Try and Google their images, try and see where they are, what is their special characteristics, what are the species, because wetlands will obviously be a good conservation site, so what are the species associated with it, what are the, different or commercially important things which are associated with it. So Keep it short but in depth, and it's not that difficult. So in one place, if you have covered, let's say 4 states today, in a span of 1 week, you will be able to cover the entire country. Should not be that difficult. And then you are just left with revision. So imagine you just have to put in an effort of 1 week. You will know not only the wetlands, you will know the species, you will know any special characteristics, you will know the river associated with that wetland. All that will be covered. Okay? So the preparation has to be holistic. It does not have to be in silos. Just because there is a question on wetland, even in your test series, when you appear in test series, your answer key or your explanation file gives you a list of wetlands. You cannot mug that up. It's just not possible. It's not humanly possible. So the only way to tackle that is holistic reading. Read about that wetland. Hokera ke bare mein padho. Wooler ke bare mein padho. What is a special characteristic of Lake Wooler? Freshwater lake. See, simple. Then again, 1 or 2 things more, if you read about it, you will get it. And the best test source is the official website of that state. Okay? Of course, Wikipedia is something that gives you a direction, but you cannot rely on that for information. Official sources like the website of, let's say, the UT of Jammu and Kashmir will give you the correct information. All right? Okay, good. Now, next is reservoirs and states. Again, Ghat Prabha, the name is telling you? No. That's right. Gandhi Sagar, this is right. Indira Sagar, Gandhi Sagar, Indira Sagar, Rana Pratap Sagars, all Sagars should be at your tips. No, not all of them are in Chambal. Not all of them are in Chambal. Okay? Yes, exactly. Don't make these kind of generalizations. Sare Sagar Chambal mein hai. Alright, you will ought to make a mistake. Please don't do that. Okay? Have a systematic way of preparing. Then Maithon is in Jharkhand. Very good. Somebody from Jharkhand spoke with a lot of enthusiasm. Nice, nice. See, that is what makes our country special, right? National integrity. Okay, again some more boring questions. Okay, now, but here we are talking about rivers. So rivers we realized rivers can be asked in a fashion of being related with cultural places, with wetlands. Then rivers themselves become important from the point of view of their source and where they drain into. Source and sink, so to say, is what is already important, and beach mein the key cities and places and the wetlands. Okay, so rivers, all in all, if you study dekho on totality, you will automatically start mapping. Okay, but only if you read it like a story. So let's say if you open the website of Arunachal Pradesh and you're reading about what is the special characteristics of Arunachal Pradesh, the wildlife, you will read, oh, it is the orchid, hub of India. Then you will read 3-4 things more important about it. Then you will read about its rivers. So gradually it will become like a story which will weave into your mind. You cannot read in silos. You cannot say that I will read about all the rivers today, Barak padi, Brahmaputra padi, Subansiri padi. You cannot do that. It has to be state-based. It has to have some linking. Okay, that will help you in answering questions also. Is this magnified enough? Okay. So Mekong River. Now we are coming to international. International source unlikely, क्योंकि sources बहुत छोटे भी हो सकते हैं. But excuse me. But sinks, or that is the finally where it drains into, becomes very important. Okay. So Mekong. South China Sea, very right. Let me just show you Mekong, Thames, Volga and Zambezi. Okay, let's see. This is Mekong River. This is Mekong River. Which all country is it passing through? Now ye bhi dekhna hai. Okay, not just the question. What all countries is it passing through? Mekong, China, Laos, then Myanmar, yes, Thailand, Cambodia and Vietnam. Imagine The river is so important, it is passing through almost all the countries, right? In this peninsula, correct? Right? So the answer is South China Sea. Now, London, Thames. Thames passes through London, London Bridge, right? So where does it fall into? North Sea. See, even if you knew कि London का location कहाँ है, because you know Thames passes through London, and if you know London is somewhere here on the eastern margin, you will not answer wrong. The answer option given to you is Irish Sea. Irish Sea is here. This is Irish Sea. This is Irish Sea on the west. So you will naturally know that this is not right, okay? Even if you know London and you know the position of London. Everybody has relatives in London, okay? Please find out where is London. All right? And finally, what is the other? Volga River. Volga River, Russia, it passes primarily through Russia and drains into the Caspian Sea. And then we have the Zambezi River. Drains into the Mozambique Channel or Indian Ocean. All right? Clear? Major rivers. These are not small rivers. Again, you might ask that, should we cover all? Yes. Major rivers of major continents? Yes, have to be covered. All right? Now, next question. Brahmani, Nagvali, Subarnarekha, Vamsadhara. Rivers that rise from the Eastern Ghats. ब्राह्मणी कौन सी स्टेट में है? उड़ीसा में, right? It's in Odisha. But then why does it not rise from Eastern Ghats? You might tend to think, yeah, Brahmani is in Odisha. It might rise from Eastern Ghats. Come on, make an attempt. Never feel shy in UPSC. Be blunt about your mistakes. The more mistakes you make here, the less you will bleed in the exam. Because it rises from the Chota Nagpur plateau, not the Eastern Ghats. Okay? And then there is Subarnarekha. Where is Subarnarekha? Right. Fine. Western Ghats. Okay? Now, pattern and trend in the last 5-6 questions is only that if rivers have to be read, they have to be read in this manner. Every river, source, sink, important, culturally important places that are that river and that cities it passes through. Okay? There are other questions also. For example, कौन से wildlife sanctuary से होती है? You know, that question also UPSC has asked. Again, you might categorize that into geography or environment. That is irrelevant. What matters is you need to know the courses of important rivers. All right? I'll tell you one more important insight, the way you have to change the way you read rivers. We'll come to that in the next slide. As of now, just see. Okay, why again I'm talking about repetition of topics? Look here. The Indus River system, this is 2021 question. The Indus River system, of the following 4 rivers, 3 of them pour into one of them. So 3 of them pour into one, and which joins the Indus directly. Okay? Now the answer to this question is given by UPSC, Satluj. Of course, actually if you see, the Satluj also does not directly pour into Indus. It first merges with Chenab, then they form together a channel for about very few kilometers, and then that channel is called Panjad, and then that drains into the Indus. Okay, so this question was also very much debated within our team, because we were yet to, still, of course, out of the given options, the best option was Satluj. You could have confused between Satluj and Chenab, but why Satluj overtakes Chenab? How do you, when 2 rivers meet, how do you determine which one is a tributary and which one is not? बाद में remnant channel कौन सा बन जाएगा? Volume of water, and there are other criteria also. Volume of water is one criteria. Another criteria could be the length of that channel. So Satluj originates in somebody is rightly saying yes, Tibet Mansarovar के पास है, right? So Satluj originates there, and Chenab originates in Yes, right? So what happens? Satluj का ज़्यादा लंबा कोर्स है. So if at all you have to come to a conclusion, the answer will be Satluj. This will remain the primary channel. Now I'll show it to you on the graph. It's a little sensitive. See this. This is your Chenab. Satluj has taken probably a longer course, more volume of water, but ये तीनों तो मिल गई. Okay, this stretch that you see, this stretch, this very small stretch of 10 miles, this UPSC says Satluj flows directly into the Indus, but practically that's not true. It's a stretch of 10 miles which is known as Panjad. Okay, so again the question is, you can say, you know, there can be a debate about it, but logically the answer is Satluj. Alright, clear? Chalo, don't get so worried. Now see, 2021 this question was asked again on similar topic. Question was covered on Jhelum River. Jhelum River passes through Wooler Lake, right? Okay. Krishna River directly feeds Koleru Lake. Is that correct? No. Koleru falls between Krishna and, correct. Okay. Meandering of Gandak River formed the Kanwar Lake. Where is the Kanwar Lake? Again, now since this is a question of 2023, we still don't have an official key, but this question is also being debated. Why? Because Kanwar Lake, as per, this is a Ramsar site, as per that site, Kanwar Lake, see this is Koleru Lake, okay? Just wanted to show you that. As per the site, this is Kanwar Jheel. Okay, as per the Ramsar site, the Kanwar Jheel was formed due to meandering of Budi Gandak, not Gandak. Okay, Budi Gandak. But one can contest that Budi Gandak is also a remnant channel of Gandak. Okay, now we don't know पहले Gandak बनी, उसमें से झील निकली, या पहले बूढ़ी गंडक बनी फिर उसमें से झील निकली, right? We don't know which came first. So some of the faculty members believe that the answer can be, the answer is not correct, Gandak is not the answer, but some still feel that in general it is difficult for UPSC to play between Gandak and Budi Gandak. So the answer probably is right. But official sources say Budi Gandak. Alright? Is that clear? In totality, our takeaway from this is topics will get repeated. ठीक है? Indus River System पूछा है, similar question, next year उसी पे है. Then also, Kanwar Lake has also been asked by UPSC before, because we are only analyzing last 5 years questions. We tend to remain restricted. Okay? Now, Gandak River, some might mark this correct, some might mark this wrong. Depending on that, the answer will be only one or only two. Clear? Okay, we'll wait for the official answer keys and then next year we'll give you a better analysis. Okay. All right. This is hypersensitive. Okay. Next topic, glaciers. Very, very, very important, because the emphasis on glaciers and melting glaciers has been incrementing day by day, right? And in news, a lot of Himalayan glaciers especially are a lot in news. So in 2019, UPSC asked a question on glaciers. Imagine 5 glaciers and you had to match them all, okay? So this 2019's paper was also very lengthy because of these reasons. You didn't have to think 1 or 3 or 2, but 5 glaciers एक ही question में and you had to answer it. Okay? So point being, rivers के साथ glaciers also have to be covered. Now, Bandarpunch Yamuna is correct. Okay? Barasingdi Chenab is right. So Milam glacier is the source of river Gori Ganga. Okay, it's the river of source of Gori Ganga. Why you should know this? Because Mandakini kaun si river hai? Mandakini is at the banks of which famous pilgrimage site? हाँ, एक साथ बोल दो सारे, कोई तो कवर हो ही जाएगा. चार धाम. Very nice. No, the answer is Kedarnath. भाई मूवी नहीं देखी सबने हैं? You must have watched the movie. You have read about it in news. Okay, Kedarnath, and the main glacier which burst, glacial lake outburst flood happened in which glacier in Kedarnath? Chorabari? You remember something? Okay, go watch the movie again. ठीक है, if और कुछ नहीं तो at least movie देख लेना. All right. So Mandakini का source is Chorabari, not this. Okay. Siachen Nubra is right. Okay. Now you see in 2019 Siachen Nubra was covered here. 2020 UPSC asked a question on Siachen Glacier's position. Clear? Okay. So what do we learn? Next year we are going to see the position of all these glaciers. Not exactly position, but at least if at all I give you a question on arranging certain glaciers from, let's say, east to west or north to south, not too closely placed, you should be able to do that. All right? Clear? Any topic which comes in UPSC, automatically all the options become important for next year's preparation. All right? And Zemo Glacier is in state. Sikkim, very right. Okay, and it is the source of river Teesta. Thoda intelligent guess, but good. All right, clear? So every previous year question is a book in itself, is a direction towards the next year's. Clear? Right? I hope you're able to identify the patterns, right? There are often repetitive topics in UPSC. Is that, I hope everyone agrees on that, right? Good. This is Siachen Glacier. Should see the position, okay? This is POK, Gilgit-Baltistan, right? That's of course India, Leh. This is Aksai Chin, and Nubra Valley is somewhere here, okay? So Siachen Glacier lies to the north of Nubra Valley. All right? Fine? Fine. So we're done with the more or less static part of rivers. Now, did you all realize there were so many questions on rivers? Right? It was a very long topic. Solar system, climate, vegetation, ye sab bhi we kind of pushed it, finished it faster, but this was a very detailed topic. Also because of the fact that, rivers fall particularly in the geography sections, whereas other topics might be placed here and there. Irrespective of that, rivers every year, 1 to 2 question is a lot of marks. Okay, 2 questions is a lot of marks. So if you're able to do that over a period of 1 year by breaking down your preparation, you're doing yourselves a big favor. And don't make it boring. Don't make it key you're marking it on a map from here to there and then you're forgetting. Open Google, see its images, see where all it's located. Agar koi famous tourist place hai, let's say Hampi, go and see the images of Hampi. Obviously you cannot travel everywhere, but you can at least see the pictures, right? That is the way to prepare. Make it interesting and easy for you. If not pictures, you go to YouTube. Just open YouTube and say, okay, documentary or let's say one video on Hampi. Just 2-minute ka bhi you will find lots of snippets. Watch it. Make it interesting. You will never forget it. Okay? Yes, tributaries is a very important point. They always ask, they have asked, in this last 5 years may we could not cover, but they have asked tributaries. Brahmaputra river ka tributary pucha hai. So tributaries automatically become important. East bank, west bank, both. Yeah. I'll deal with this question towards the end. He has asked that when you visit the website of a state government, what all should be noted down. I will deal with this question in depth towards the end of the class, okay? Because there is a lot of information that you can gather from there. And a lot of information which will not only help you in geography and environment, but also in culture. All right, so we'll deal with that towards the end of the class, okay? Fine. Oceanography. Let's see. 20, 21, 23, okay? 3 questions. Now, very interesting question. This question is about ocean mean temperature. Generally, with respect to oceans and seas, we talk about sea surface temperature. This question is talking about ocean mean temperature. Question has been directly framed from an article of Hindu. Directly. I'll show it to you. Here. Ocean mean temperature can better predict Indian summer monsoon. Okay. 2018 September का article है, 2020 का question है. 2020, so you can say mid of 2020. Okay. So now if you see why is it important? Let's read. The question says OMT is measured up to a depth of 26 degrees Celsius isotherm. What is isotherm? A line that joins the points with same temperature, okay, which is 129 meters in the southwest Indian Ocean during January-March. Clear? Okay. Now, 90% students who read this left this question. Okay, maximum students, see it's so complicated, right? How would you know? OMT is measured at a depth of 26 degrees Celsius isotherm, which is 129 meters southwest of Indian Ocean. Very tough, right? And OMT collected during January-March can be used in assessing whether the amount of rainfall in monsoon will be less or more than a certain long-term mean. Again, very complicated. Now let's go to the article. Okay, so this article is a very good article. It elaborates and explains everything very nicely. It says, I'll zoom it a bit, okay. It says, sea surface temperature is routinely used for predicting whether the total amount of rainfall that India receives during the monsoon season will be less or more than the long-term average, LPA जिसे हम बोलते हैं, right? So, sea surface temperature is a good sign of telling. Now, scientists from Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology, Pune, okay, this is again a very national level institute, have said that there is a better ability to predict this than the sea surface temperature. Ocean mean temperature has a better ability to predict this than a sea surface temperature. Monsoon prediction in India is a very, very important topic. It is a pertinent issue because our farmers depend on it, our crops depend on it, our inflation depends on it. Okay? For these reasons, how we are going to anticipate whether monsoon kitna hoga, kaun si crop lagani chahiye nahi, this becomes a very important topic. Now this question, this article itself is telling you that sea surface temperature se better is the ocean mean temperature. Now, if you see, see difference between sea surface temperature and ocean mean temperature is sea surface temperature takes only a very thin layer of the sea, ऊपर का बिल्कुल sea के surface का very thin layer and measures the temperature. Ocean mean temperature takes a slightly deeper level. That is also mentioned in fact in this article. It is mentioned in this article. I'm not sure I've taken that screenshot, but you can go and read that it is particularly, see, इसमें it's saying SST is restricted to a few millimeters of the top ocean layer. Few millimeters, that's it. Whereas in contrast, OMT is measured up to a depth of 26 degree isotherm, all right, and in the southwest Indian Ocean, its depth is 59 meters. और question में क्या लिखा था? 126. So there was a trap. Very tough question. Don't expect you to do it, but expect you to read the article and understand the issue. Clear? Yes. 20. Absolutely. See, to answer your question, yes. First of all, I do, and everybody in the fraternity expects you to cover current affairs of the last 1.5 years. 1 year's current affairs is very, very short a period now. Okay? Second thing, this is something that would not have been covered in current affairs also. This is something that is one of an article. Okay, so even if I say that yes, you have to cover current affairs of, let's say, the last 1.5 years, I don't expect you to read all the articles of last 1.5 years. So that is why this question is an outlier. Don't expect you to answer this question, but now that it has come in UPSC, the topic becomes important and you ought to know the issue. You need to know the concept. Okay, what it is and how is it different. Clear? Yeah. Sorry? I don't follow. Cyclone mean temperature, sorry. Yes. For regarding cyclone formation also, what are the conditions of formation of a cyclone? The sea surface temperature we say should be around 27-28 degrees Celsius plus. Okay, for that also you can take this into consideration. You can say the ocean mean temperature should be more than that. See that obviously, see if you look at it, sea surface temperature is very, very thin, right? But ocean mean temperature can give you a better result. In fact, that is what the article says. It has given you them 80% success rate, better results than seeing sea surface temperature. This is a big change. This is a huge shift in the way one approaches monsoon prediction. Okay? All right? Clear? So, the question is tough, but point being, UPSC can ask you such questions. So if at all you ever come across something like this, especially with related to monsoon prediction, you should be able to tell what is long period average, how it is determined, how if this year the monsoons have been very, very erratic. From April to July, usually in northern India, there is a dry spell. There was hardly any dry spell this year. So this topic again becomes important for this year. I know this is too much information, too much to study, but what matters is consistency. Quickly just read 1 or 2 articles that why was monsoon so different this year than previous years. Even if you read 1 article on the go, you will at least get 3 to 4 points. And you just jot them down somewhere and revise that. Okay? Clear? All right. Again, the question, second statement was also talking about January, March. That is also exact line is mentioned in that article. Fine. Now, let's see about the next questions. I think I've put them forward. Okay. 2021, in the tropical zone, the western sections of ocean are warmer than the eastern sections owing to the influence of trade winds. Where do trade winds flow? Right. So the question says, see this. This is trade winds, right? What is the direction of trade winds? Easterly. They come from the east, okay? The question says the western sections of the oceans are warmer than the eastern owing to influence of trade winds. This is correct, right? Then in the temperate zone, westerlies make the eastern sections of the oceans warmer than the western sections. So, what is happening in the tropics? That it is making western part warmer. Opposite is happening in the temperate region. It is making the eastern counterpart warmer. Simple, right? So this question was asked in 2021. Again, similar question, absolutely similar question. Yep. Winds transport water. See, what happens? There is water, right? Okay, wind is blowing. If wind is blowing in one particular direction, it will transport the upper layers of that water. The upper layers of the water will mostly be warmer than lower layers. They'll be warmer. So all the warm water gets accumulated on one side, and when the water is displaced from this end, cold water will rise up, upwelling will take place. So this place will have colder water and this will have warmer water. This is exactly the concept of El Nino. That is what happens in El Nino, right? Okay. Now 2023, exact similar question. The temperature contrast between continents and oceans is greater during summer than in winter. Of course, that question is comparing about the east and western margins of oceans. This question is comparing water with land. Okay, so the temperature contrast between continents and oceans is greater during summer than in winter. Is that correct? Why? Because the specific heat of water is more than that of, what is specific heat? Definition of specific heat? Temperature of what? 1 gram of a substance. So you just can't say temperature. इतना सारे को गर्म करने में ज़्यादा heat लगेगी, इतने में गर्म. So the correct definition is 1 gram of a substance by 1 degree Celsius. That is its specific heat. Okay. So the specific heat of water is more. It takes more heat to heat up 1 gram of water by 1 degree Celsius as opposed to land. So because of this reason, between continents and oceans during summer, of course, see, land cannot be measured in gram, but the kind of comparison is made between soil and water in rough estimates. You can't compare a piece of land with water. The rough comparison is between soil and water. These things are taught to you in your schools also, right? You remember we used to have these experiments that in one can you put water and in one can you put soil, leave it out in the sun for 1 hour, which is hotter after 1 hour. We have read all of that. Land breeze, sea breeze, all these are on this concept only. All right, good. So both statement 1 and statement 2 are correct, and statement 2 is the correct explanation of statement 1. Fine, simple. So what do we take away from this? Questions in oceanography range from difficult but also simple conceptual questions. And 21 में भी question आया है, 23 में भी question आया है. There is a good chance that there might be questions in the future also. So oceanography, climatology, these topics continue to hold importance. All right, next. Minerals. Again, this topic overlaps with economics in a very big way. A lot of topics in economics in this will be covered with the economics faculty also, especially related to exports and producing regions and all that. Okay? Like producing countries, largest producers, reservoirs, wo maximum that will be covered in economics. What we have to see is some specific questions. See, this question has been categorized here in geography. In my opinion, this should have probably been in governance, because this question is primarily talking about sand. Sand is a minor mineral in India or not. Then whether state government has the power to grant the mining lease of sand. Again, this is not really a geography. This is more of an administrative question. Yet we will cover it. Okay, and state governments have the power to frame rules to prevent illegal mining of minor minerals. So we all know minor and major minerals in India are defined under the MMRDR Act. Okay. So under that, state governments have the power to make rules regarding the mining and leasing of mines of minor minerals, and major minerals is with central government. Okay, so statement 2 says State governments have the power to grant mining leases of minor minerals, but the powers regarding formation of rules related to grant of minor minerals lie with the central government. And third statement itself says state governments have the power to frame rules to prevent illegal mining of minor minerals. Actually, both are contradictory in a way. Okay, so statement 2 is wrong, statement 1 is correct, and statement 3 is correct. Okay, this question was asked in 2019. First statement tha, sand is a minor mineral. The very next year, UPSC gave a list of minerals and asked which are major. You identify the pattern, okay? In the previous year, there was only one statement asking whether sand is a minor or major. आपको UPSC ने topic introduce कर दिया कि भाई major mineral भी होते हैं, minor mineral भी होते हैं, पढ़ लो, okay? And the next year, following year, there is a full question on what are major and what are minor minerals. Clear? The answer to this is 2, 3 and 4. Bentonite is basically clay. It is 80-85% clay, okay? Chromite is a mineral of chromium, okay? And kyanite and sillimanite are minerals of aluminium, Al2O3, aluminium oxides. All right, clear? Now the list has to be revised and read, and where will you find it? See, you find it on the net. You will also find it in the MMDR Act. You will also find it in one of the CAG documents. CAG has given a list of, under its one of its reports, it has given that. Okay, but एक बारी ये देखना बहुत ज़रूरी है. Because again, in the following year, in 2022 also, there was a question. In 23 again, there is a question on minerals, again on similar lines. Okay, so let's see the question on 2022. 2022, UPSC has asked a question on monazite. Everybody knows about monazite. We know monazite sands are a source of thorium. And where are they found? Coastal belt of where we have a long coastline? Pura Western Ghats. केरला. मोनाजाइट होता क्या है? नहीं, मोनाजाइट ठीक है. Okay, it's a mineral. Mineral, what is a mineral? What is the difference between element, compound, mineral? Ore. Note this down. Find it out. Okay, these are basics. अगर ये clear हो जाएंगे, everything will start settling in your brain easier. Okay, see, I'll show you. Monazite is a mineral of phosphate. Okay, phosphate. Phosphate is PO4. See, common सब में है PO4. ठीक है? And it is a rich source of thorium. Even sometimes uranium, but very rarely. Okay? And it is found in which all regions? This is what it looks like. See, monazite crystal. This is a monazite crystal. And these are monazite sands. थोड़ी dark blackish color की है ना? The coastal belt of Kerala. This is how they look like. See, if you see something, you will remember it better, right? Okay. Now, this is where monazite is found. Kerala में primarily, also some parts of Assam, Meghalaya and Tamil Nadu. Okay, this is where we estimate that reserves है monazite के. All right, clear? Okay. So the question says, monazite is a source of rare earths. What are rare earths? What are rare earths? Very important elements, okay, which are used especially in today's technologies related to, let's say, semiconductors, chips, electric vehicles, all those things, okay? So those are rare earths. Monazite contains thorium, that's right, okay? Monazite occurs naturally in the entire coastal sands of India. It's not, right? It's a very rare resource. So obviously, ये वहीं पे eliminate होके, if you take out 3, the answer you come at 1, 2, 4. But this technique is no longer applicable. Okay. So in India, government bodies only can process or export because, yes, atomic mineral with the government of India. All right. Fine. Now, 3 questions back to back. हर साल एक question है minerals पे clearly. And again, the trend is the question is on rare earths and important minerals. Okay, not just your typical coal and iron and all that, iron and steel. वो सब पढ़ना है, लेकिन अब ये भी पढ़ना है. So that is what has changed in geography. All right. Okay. This year's questions. Now see, ilmenite and rutile, abundantly available in certain coastal tracts of India, are rich sources of which one of the following? Answer is titanium. Ilmenite also has iron, rutile has only titan. This is iron and titan, and the titanium, and this has titanium. Okay. Again, minerals which are lesser known, which are not in your typical NCERT books, but are important for their commercial viability. Okay, clear? You go through the list of major and minerals of India, and also keep an eye for such things in the newspapers. If it is covered in the newspaper in any format, any article, in PIB also, if there is some news release which is talking about certain minerals, rare earths, please jot them down. The topic becomes important in every aspect. Even if you write about these things in your essay, you are bound to gain marks, because you are writing about something which is niche, all right, and not everybody will be able to mention it. So to gain a competitive advantage, these are the things that one has to cover. Okay. Now, about 3/4 of the world's cobalt, a metal required for the manufacture of batteries for electric motor vehicles. See, again, 2023 question. UPSC geography is increasingly being linked to current technologies. So you can't just stay limited to Damodar Valley Corporation, okay, TISCO. Bhai, ab aa jao wahan se. You should know it that by now. You should be knowing this also, okay. So cobalt, the answer is Democratic Republic of Congo. All right. Now, what does it tell you? Important minerals which are used, okay, in our new modern technologies, उनके leading countries कौन से हैं? Now, make that distinction between reserves, producer and exporter. तीनों अलग हो सकते हैं. All three can be different. A country with the reserves may not be extracting it, may not be enriching it. It may be simply having reserves. A country which is producing might be doing that on a commercial scale, is a largest producing country. And third is a country which is exporting. जरूरी नहीं है जो produce कर रहा है ज़्यादा वो exporter भी होगा. Make that distinction very clear with respect to all minerals and all these जो भी आपकी ये रहते हैं जैसे iron and all those things. Okay, you have to be very, very clear about that distinction. So gold also, UPSC asked a question that will be covered in your economics class, that largest exporter of gold. Switzerland se related, there was a statement. Okay, so all these things have to be read in threefold fashion. Yes. See, exporter and reserves holder is two different things. So it is up to the country. The country may not want to export, they may want to hold on to their reserves. So that is completely different. You can't say just because a country has it, we will export it. We have a lot of iron, but does not mean we will export it. Although we have exported that in huge quantities to China. China did not have high-grade iron. We had very high-grade iron, yet we exported that in huge quantities. And China is like the largest steel manufacturer, and we are still there, lagging behind. So it depends on the capacity of the country to process, how they want to do it, what they want to do with it. All right, clear? Finally, some more geography questions, typical weather and climate. Okay. Easy questions and not tough. Generally what you read in NCERT can be covered with this, right? Let's see what are, again, I want to point out 2019, 22 and 23. Same question, almost same question. This one is talking about insolation and clouds, whether they are reflecting or not. This question is talking about, again, clouds, high clouds and low clouds, what they do. And this question is again talking about infrared waves are largely absorbed by water vapor that is concentrated in lower atmosphere. Same thing, same, ekdam same hai. This question and this question is exactly same, and this is almost similar. So you realize the pattern, 2019, 22, 23. This is why previous years become very, very important, okay? Now, 2019, clouds reflect why are dewdrops not formed on a cloudy night? Why? Dewdrops, when are dewdrops formed? Temperature inversion. Oh, no, we are linking two different topics. Oh, okay, low windy night, okay. See, when a temperature, dewdrops kya hota hai? If I am taking out this bottle from fridge, okay, and if I put it here, uske aaspas condensation takes place, the water vapor in the atmosphere comes in contact with a cool object and immediately water vapors are formed. So, anything, dew point kya hota hai? Dew point is a point ki air itni thandi ho gayi कि वो maximum saturation हो गया. Look at it like this. There is a packet of air. If I heat it, garam hai, it will expand. When it expands, it has more capacity to retain more moisture. Likewise, if I make it cooler, it will shrink, okay, and it will have lesser capacity to hold moisture. When it has lesser capacity to hold moisture, it will release moisture in some form. तो वो objects, leaves, सबके ऊपर drops बनने लग जाएंगी. So the temperature at which the air is cooled to an extent where the air becomes saturated with moisture is known as dew point. Clear? Clear to everybody? Okay. Now, dewdrops are not formed on a cloudy night. Why? Because cloudy nights are warmer. And why are cloudy nights warmer? Because the outgoing infrared long radiation is not able to go out. It is reflected back by the clouds. Simple. Clear? Okay. Next question. High clouds primarily reflect solar radiation and cool the surface of the earth. So high clouds जो है वो radiation को reflect करते हैं. And the statement says low clouds have high absorption. So what are the chances? नीचे जो clouds होते हैं, they are what cirrus clouds कहाँ मिलते हैं? Where do you find cirrus clouds? High altitude clouds, they are more feathery in nature, okay? So it is highly likely that the lower clouds will have more radiation capacity, right? They will radiate. Lower clouds will radiate and higher clouds will absorb. So they have interchanged the two, and the answer is neither one nor two. This is 2022. Now, same thing in 2023. With reference to the Earth's atmosphere, which one of the following statements is correct? This statement is correct. Infrared waves are largely absorbed by water vapor that is concentrated in the lower atmosphere. Exactly same point. Okay? Lower atmosphere absorbs and higher atmosphere reflects. Is that clear? Okay? Fine. Next. 2020, we read a lot about jet streams. We read a lot about El Ninos and all. अभी तक El Nino मिला किसी को? Last 5 years. See, that's the whole point. Sometimes we tend to miss out on the smaller things. You might tend to miss out on the topics of, you know, let's say dew point and all these things. But these are conceptual basics. They have to be covered from NCERT with a good understanding. Okay, so jet streams occur in the northern hemisphere only. What are jet streams? Quickly, concept. They are in the upper atmosphere, but what are they and how are they formed? Why are they formed? Or rather, where are they formed? टेम्परेट रीजन, दे आर नॉट फाउंड इन द ट्रॉपिक्स. इंडिया में नहीं होती जेट स्ट्रीम. See, the characteristics, what you all are saying is right. The characteristics of jet stream, it's a fast moving belt of air, okay? And the thing is, एक warm air mass है, एक cold air mass है, okay? They both get together. Extreme warm, extreme cold में बहुत ज़्यादा pressure difference है, okay? And when we know there is a huge pressure gradient, there is something that happens in the upper atmosphere which makes a stream of wind, fast wind, okay? That happens at the edge of two contrasting air masses. That is known as jet stream in the upper atmosphere. Okay, it is usually formed at the point of two. That is why your polar jet stream is very strong, because it is formed with between the polar cold air mass and warmer higher latitude air mass. Okay. Now, so jet streams, do they occur only in the northern hemisphere? No. There is no reason why they should only occur in the northern hemisphere. Now, only some cyclones develop an eye. All cyclones develop an eye. How many types of cyclones do you know? We know temperate and we know tropical. Tropical cyclones, we just discussed what are the conditions for development of tropical cyclones. High sea surface temperature, okay, or ocean mean temperature, then there should be convergence of air. Temperature high है एक point पे, ठीक है, एक particular location में ocean में, और वहाँ पे when the temperature is high, the pressure is low. It's always ulta, right? Pressure is low, low pressure create हुआ, wind start converging from all directions, and then there is Coriolis force, which makes it turn, okay? In which direction in the northern hemisphere? Correct. So then when all the converging winds come together and then there is a turning also, it forms a cyclone. This is true for tropical cyclones. How are temperate cyclones formed? Again, air masses, contrasting air masses, not at upper air, niche, okay? So contrasting air masses are formed and the cold air mass pushes the warmer air mass up, and then finally clouds are created, because of which there is a cyclone which is created, right? Because again Coriolis force takes place. So in a temperate tropical scenario, mostly eyes will develop, but in a temperate scenario an eye may or may not develop, okay? Now, in a tropical scenario, when we were talking about the eye, we told that the temperature was high and the pressure was low. So the third statement says, the temperature inside the eye of a cyclone is nearly 10 degrees Celsius, lesser than that of the surroundings. Would that be correct? No, because the temperature was higher us place ka, and surrounding places would be low, okay? So only some cyclones develop an eye is the correct statement. Both 1 and 3 are wrong. Now, for these kind of questions, most of the students would have thought that, you know, I did not find this information in NCERT. This was not directly written. I don't know whether, how to answer it. But using your basic knowledge from NCERT, one could have solved this question. Okay, thank you for the acknowledgement. He says it's given in the vision material. That's nice of you to say, but this is an open session and we are addressing all students. So, we are sticking to NCERT right now. In NCERT, one can deduce the answer. Clarity? All right, any doubt? Hanji. Cumulonimbus. Cumulonimbus clouds are what? What is the characteristics of cumulonimbus clouds? Thunderstorm, lightning and heavy rains. Okay, all right. Now, apart from all this, your standard Nadi, Pahad and everything, okay, UPSC also has a tendency to ask questions on Indian places which have some special feature, something special, something unique. Okay, so all, again, somebody asked how to read the state study the state website. ये चीज़ें states की websites पे बहुत अच्छे से दी होती हैं, because these are major tourist attractions. Okay, so for example, this question is talking about which one of the following is the best example of repeated falls in sea level giving rise to present day extensive marshland. Extensive marshland is in Run of Kutch. Extensive, so repeated falls in sea level. Okay, there have been repeated falls in sea level. So because of this, Run of Kutch is what? It is a saline marshland, pura, it's all white. So if you go to the website of, let's say, Gujarat, this will be a major tourist location. What is marshland? What is marshland? Marsh is, somebody tell me what is marsh? Any place, any दलदल भी कह सकते हैं, which is saturated with water. अब ज़रूरी नहीं है कि वो कीचड़ या soil के साथ हो. It can be with salt also, which is saturated with water. So what happens in Run of Kutch? If you go and step on the salt, it is like stepping on, let's say, a frozen lake. You know, if you step on that, आपका थोड़ा सा पैर धसेगा और पानी अंदर से निकल के आएगा, आपका footprint बन जाएगा पानी की shape का. But the surface is not soil, it is all salt. It is salt pans. Okay? Alright? So again, now, those of you who are not able to visualize it, who have not seen it, please go and see images or videos related to Run of Kutch. Alright? Clear? There is also one little run, read about that also. And then read about the migratory species and birds that come to Run of Kutch, you know, which fall, because this falls in the Central Asian flyway. Okay, you have to link one thing from the other. All right. Okay, so the answer is Run of Kutch. What is Gulf? No, Gulf of Khambat is in south. Okay. All right. Gandikota Canyon of South India was created by which of the following rivers? Now Gandikota is what? Anybody who knows? Yes? Is a gorge, very good. Gandikota is a gorge, that's right. See, this is article in the paper, into the great unknown at Gandikota. Okay, and then when you read about the article, it says that it is basically it is India's Grand Canyon. Like US mein hai Grand Canyon, this is known as India's Grand Canyon. Again, special places with special features. There was also a question on Chandigarh beach in Odisha. Okay, I think that might be covered in environment, or I don't know if that was 5 years before. But Chandigarh beach, Odisha mein there was a question like passage type only. There is a place in India where during high tide and low tide the sea completely disappears. It moves so many kilometers back and then the marshy area is left. Like that, it had a full description of that beach. And then it asked where is that place in India. Okay, so all these places in India, if at all you come across any place in India which has special characteristics, okay, you must know it. Alright, especially with anomalies, जहाँ पे कुछ अलग हो रहा है, which is something different from what is usually happening. So for example, in Ladakh, okay, in Ladakh you have this magnetic hill. What, you know about it? Anybody has been there? Northern Lights? No. Magnetic lights is completely different. That happens in the polar areas of Earth. That is rarely visible here in tropics. Okay? So I'm talking about special Indian characteristics, Indian places. So there is a magnetic hill in Ladakh where agar hill pe aap gaadi ko chodoge, if you leave the car, it will actually go up rather than going down. Okay, because of some magnetic reasons, because of the way the rocks are placed there. Okay, what I'm trying to say is any places which have an anomaly, which are different from the usual understanding of, you know, what we understand as land and this, becomes important from the perspective of UPSC, especially if an article related to that is covered. Okay, clear? Okay, now moving on. Yes, bolo, just say it. Which question? This one? See, basically what happened in run of Kutch, there is run of Kutch, okay? Sea level was पहले ऊपर तक था, okay? Gradually sea has started going down. The coast has emerged, okay, over a period of time. वहाँ पे पहले sea का water इकट्ठा होता गया, the water kept evaporating. What happens when you evaporate sea water? Salt is left behind, okay? So due to continuous falling of sea water, there is continuous accumulation of salt pans, because of which this marshy area of run of Kutch was developed. Sea level, what you are reading in current affairs, that sea level is rising, is related to general sea level of the world, which is hardly in centimeters. What this we are talking about has already happened over the last millions of years. Okay? What you are reading about sea level is rising is because of melting of glaciers. So that is completely different. That is general overall sea level of the world. This is to a specific place. Okay? Why it is decreasing? There can be many reasons. See, there are coasts of submergence, there are coasts of emergence, there can be many geological reasons why that is happening. So there is no one specific point as to why it is happening. There is not one. Over a millions of years, why Himalayas were created? That is the answer I can give for this also. Due to plate tectonics. This is a very simplified answer. Himalayas were created because there was a Tethys Sea, and because of constant isostasy, sediments were deposited over a long period of time, millions of years. Those sediments started accumulating and finally Himalayas were built, right? So, on those lines, okay? Okay. All right. No, it's good to ask questions because sometimes you might feel that, it's always good to get your concepts cleared. It's always. And it's always good to link the past with the future also. So what has happened in the past is always linked with the future. Okay, but the issues here we are dealing with, sea level rise is different from plate tectonics, what we have experienced over millions of years ago. Okay, Gondwana land tha, wo disintegrate hua, everything, all that is completely, that happened millions of years ago. So that is nothing to do with global sea level rise, which we are just witnessing in the last 100 years or so. That is nothing compared to what that scale is. Okay? Okay. Finally, international regions. Again, extremely important. Some of these will also be covered by your IR faculty. There will be a session on international relations as well. Okay, international regions. Now let's see, the term Levant, often heard in the news, roughly corresponds to which of the following regions? So let's see. This is your Levant. This is Mediterranean Sea, Africa, Europe, Asia, India. Clear? Okay. So the countries which are a part of the Eastern Mediterranean are known as Levant. What does Levant mean? Levant literally means rising, and rising means rising sun here. So for countries here, for Italian shorers, जो Italian ships थे और उनके लिए, this was like कि यहाँ से sea rise हो रहा है. So they used to trade with countries on their east, and they used to call these countries Levant. Earlier, जो light green है, they were also included in the definition of Levant. Now, strictly, very few countries are considered Levant. But overall, the region is in the Eastern Mediterranean. Okay? So, your question is asking that only. Region along the Eastern Mediterranean shores. All right, clear? Okay. Again, this was asked in 2022, same year, same question on international regions which were in news. Okay, Anatolia, Amhara, Cabo Delgado, Degalo, and Catalonia. Now, if you just see quickly, Anatolia is what? Anatolia is the Asian part of Turkey. Okay, Turkey we say is into both continents, Europe and Asia. So the Asian part of Turkey is Anatolia. Okay, so this is Anatolia. Okay, now Amhara is a region of Ethiopia. Very tough question, don't expect you to know it, but if you have been reading the news, you can answer it. Okay, these questions, these places were in news. Okay, and similarly, Mozambique, Cabo Delgado, okay, and finally, Catalonia in Spain. All right, clear? So, point being, all these places are in news, especially international. Mostly they are in news because of conflicts. Okay, these are places which are hit by either internal conflicts or conflicting countries, something of that sort. Or there could be also some environmental issues because of which they are in news. So any region, एक region which is in news also becomes important. If not anything, then at least try and read about the country it is in. Okay, इतना पता होना चाहिए कि कौन सी country में है. Nothing more, nothing less. All right. Sorry. Okay. Map-based questions, again very important, everybody emphasizes that in geography. Map-based question, seas, khas karke, seas which are closed by countries from all sides become very important, like Adriatic Sea, Black Sea, Caspian Sea, Mediterranean and Red Sea. So if you see here, and in 2022, there was a question on countries bordering Afghanistan. Afghanistan saw a major upheaval and change of government, right? Right? And that year UPSC asked a question on neighboring countries of Afghanistan. So again, relevance highlighted there. I will just show you. This is the Adriatic Sea. Okay, Italy is side pe hai, but here it is Slovenia, Croatia, okay, Montenegro and Albania, okay, and Bosnia and Herzegovina. I think they're split, right? Okay, then there is Black Sea. Black Sea is surrounded by Bulgaria, Romania, Ukraine, Russia, Georgia and Turkey. Okay. Similarly, Caspian Sea. See, these are closed water bodies, but important sea. Caspian Sea, which river flows into Caspian Sea? Volga. We just read it, right? Okay, now see all the neighboring countries. Okay, likewise Red Sea and likewise Mediterranean Sea. So ye 4-5 seas to you have to know because they are closed and they are surrounded by a lot of countries, and time and again these are regions of conflict. So there will always be 1 or 2 questions around this place. All right? Okay. Neighboring countries of Afghanistan. Will you include India? That's right. Okay, so then there is Iran, Pakistan, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan and China also. Okay, all right, clear? So this was also asked by UPSC in the year when change of government took place in Afghanistan. Okay, now soils, again, simple question. You remember at the starting of the session, I asked you to remember that point on fast decomposition. Fast decomposition, see this question, exact question. The soil in tropical rainforest is rich in nutrients. The temperature and moisture of tropical rainforest cause dead organic matter in the soil to decompose quickly. Same point, right? Different way of asking. Last 5 years mein hi we have seen so many repetitions. Okay, so I hope there is a clear fact establishment here that repetition is something which you will, in fact, in the next 1 week, when you will go through all the subjects, you will realize that there is constant repetition of themes by UPSC, same topics over and over again, but that does not mean everything else becomes unimportant. What that means is something that has been introduced new this year becomes important for the forthcoming years. Okay, so again, black cotton soil, ये देख लेना, volcanic है, Deccan trap की वजह से, is pretty easy. I'm coming to the forthcoming things that you should be changing your strategy towards. Now, yeah. Statement 1 is not correct. Tropical rainforest soil is not rich in nutrients. Why is it not rich in nutrients? Because of leaching, right? Because of leaching, and itni sari vegetation hai usi soil pe, the vegetation picks all that nutrients up. Okay, so the soil is not rich in nutrients. All right, and second statement is the repetition. We saw it does decompose organic matter quickly. So second statement is correct. Okay, now again, rivers, I told you, river basin also has to be done, right? River basins have to be covered, but see this question. Although we will cover this question in detail in the environment class, but which of the following protected areas are located in the Kaveri river basin? Papikonda is not correct. Papikonda lies towards the northeast of Andhra Pradesh. So that is not the answer. We will read this more because this is more of an environment. We will read about these reserves and how they have to be covered. Point being, सिर्फ river का course और वो नहीं देखना है, basin also has to be studied. Now see this, which of the following is a part of the Congo basin? Which of the following countries is a part of the Congo basin? एक तो पहले Congo याद करो, फिर उसकी countries याद करो, right? Tough. Now, why is it important? Why Congo is important? Congo is the lungs of Africa, okay? And it is the largest carbon sink in the world, even more than Amazon. Okay? That is why Congo का जो पूरा stretch है, rainforest becomes more important because it is absorbing a lot of carbon from the atmosphere. Okay, that is why the countries in that region become important because they have a lot of preservation to do. Now let's see. These are the countries: Cameroon, Democratic Republic of Congo, Republic of Congo, a little bit of Central African Republic. Okay. So the answer is Cameroon. Okay, clear? Tough question, no doubt about it. But अगर news में कहीं आ रहा है कि Congo basin important है and the countries have a role to play, एक बार देख लेना. All right? Because it is a largest carbon sink. Okay? Now, typical questions of geography, right? Which you will invariably cover: mountains and peaks. Okay, and hills and their locations. So for example, this 2022 question, Namcha Barwa peak is in Garhwal Himalayas. No, where is Namcha Barwa? Right. Okay, Nanda Devi. That's right, Kumaon Himalayas. Nokrek is in Sikkim. Nokrek is in Meghalaya. So 2 is the answer. Nothing scientific about it. There is no concept here. You just need to know. All right. Okay. Now, Amarkantak hills are at the confluence of Vindhyas and Sahyadri range. Is that correct? Where is Sahyadri? Give me an alternate name for Sahyadris. Western Ghats. You can say the Maharashtra side of Western Ghats is Sahyadris, okay? But Amarkantak कहाँ पर है? Amarkantak is in Madhya Pradesh. So it is actually at the confluence of Vindhyas and Satpuras, not Sahyadris, okay? Then Bilirangan hills constitute the easternmost part of Satpura range. Is this correct? No, they are in find out. And there is a temple also associated with it. Okay? No, not Brihadeshwar temple. Where is Brihadeshwar temple? Tanjavur down south. Okay. Seshachalam hills constitute the southernmost part of? No. Where are Seshachalam hills? Eastern Ghats. Okay. So simple question, straightforward है. See, देखो अगर पेपर इतना टफ आ रहा है, what is the cutoff? It's a 200 mark paper. Cutoff is hovering around 90s. Okay. Let's say cutoff is hovering around 90s these days. Okay. You are required to score 50% marks. At least 10 to 15 questions are such which are very difficult, you know, naturally, which you cannot attempt, which you have not heard about or something. These are questions which you can do, you should do. Because these are the questions which will fetch you marks with a little bit of structured effort. If you don't attempt this, then you're out of the game already. Then you obviously cannot gain an edge over everyone else in those 10 questions. You have to gain an edge over others in these questions, which is why geography becomes important. You don't know कि आपको और topics पे क्या पूछा जाएगा. But this is so static that if you don't do this, then it's not worth preparing. All right? So these are low-hanging fruits. So we have to cover them, like it or not. But if you do it in a structured way, regularly, by watching it, by watching videos or something, you will retain it. The problem is of retention. You will overcome that problem. All right? I need a better way to do this. Okay. Now, finally, like I mentioned, what are the changing trends? I mentioned at the start of this session that economic geography is really picking pace. You will realize this because most of the economic geography questions have been classified in economics and they will be covered by your economics faculty. But at the same time, this year at least 4 to 5 questions were from economic geography. Itne sare last 5 years ke questions mein we have come to an end. So in all the questions, there were very few economic geography questions, right? Hardly 1 or 2. Not even that. But if you see, this year UPSC has asked a question on East-West corridor under Golden Quadrilateral project connects Dibrugarh and Surat. What does it connect East-West corridor with? Porbandar with Silchar. Okay, so first is not correct. Trilateral highway connects Moreh in Manipur and Chiang Mai in Thailand via Myanmar. This is not correct. I will just show the map. And similarly, BCIM corridor connects Varanasi in Uttar Pradesh with Kunming in China. Not Varanasi, Kolkata with Kunming in China. International bhi hai, economic bhi hai, and relates to geography because it is linking the places, identifying the places. Okay. And what was missing in so many years, earthquakes have made a comeback. Like literally. Okay. Earthquakes have made a comeback quite literally. And simple basic question P waves, S waves का जो इतने सालों से नहीं था वो आया है. What does that show? That there is a tendency to go back to the basics. So these topics become important. Economic geography as well as basics of physiography, geology and plate tectonics, everything. सब कुछ आ गया फिर उसके अंदर. All right? Clear? Okay. So wanted to show you the map. This is the Moreh, Mandalay and Mysot. The place is Mysot. M-A-E-S-O-T. Mysot. And the question mentions Chiang Mai. Chiang Mai is not Mysot. They are different. Again, don't expect you to remember as such, but if you know Moreh to Mysot, एक रटा सा मारा हुआ है सुन के या न्यूज़पेपर में कहीं पढ़ के, you will be able to tell. Okay? So, international projects are very, very important, especially cross-country with respect to neighboring countries of India. Clear? Okay. And we talked about the BCIM corridor, that is Kolkata to Kunming. Clear? All right. Finally, we have discussed 51 questions today and we have analyzed the last 5 years papers. The number of questions in UPSC past 5 years, 2019, 20 and 21 was 8 each. In 22, there were 12 questions and in 23 there were 15 questions. So mind you, the weightage of geography is increasing. And this is after when we have not included a lot of questions in geography, जो economics में चले गए या environment में चले गए. So please do not underplay the importance of geography and environment and economics. Just link all of that together. Okay? The key takeaways are revise your previous year's questions and themes thoroughly, not 5 years, but 10 to 15 years bare minimum. Okay? Lay emphasis on emerging infrastructure projects. All those international projects are still coming up. Okay? And interesting geographical places, link current affairs with static. Again, I am reiterating, have small notebooks. One notebook for agriculture, one notebook for, let's say, minerals. Minerals को फिर चाहे geography में पूछो, चाहे आप उसको economics में पूछो, is irrelevant. But you should have at one place all this data, so that you can just revise and put it anywhere you want. All right? And data and statistics, producer, exporter, and reserves. 3 different entities. And do not ignore the any important geographical phenomena in use. Polar vortex हो गया, ठीक है? Zero shadow day हो गया. All these things are in news. You cannot ignore anything, any phenomena which is in news. Blue moon, super moon, blood moon. You should know all these. Okay? Just because अभी तक question बहुत ज़्यादा वैसा typical नहीं आया है, does not mean that it cannot be asked. They naturally become important. Okay? Then maps. Practice, practice, and practice. Break and practice. Divide and rule. Okay? Divide and rule. Divide your topic and just rule it. All right? And thank you everyone for your patience. And if you have any questions, I can take them up later.